I can show you what I'm doing. My hair is really messy today, but whatever. I'm not going anywhere. Okay, so I am actually watching somebody else's live stream at the moment.
You gotta get out because Mama's gotta wipe that.
Chat. I'm drinking some cherry Coca-Cola. Because it's just so good. Got myself my e-cigarette here. I'm puffing away on that, which I shouldn't be doing because I have emphysema, but whatever, you know. I can't stop. Lots of water. I'm obsessed with drinking water. Water bottles are just everywhere.
Do you want one
I'm being
of these?
talked to.
I think I got another one. It's like a little thing you put notes in. I think I have another one if you want it. It's a pretty nice pen.
I'm being offered a present. Yay!
Get those free gifts all the time.
We should see what's on TV. Haven't turned on the TV at all today. Yes, this place is a mess. I apologize. I got a movie on the floor. I'm actually working on ripping the DVD onto my computer. And I will be uploading it to my channel because that seems to be very popular. I know it's kind of illegal, but I mean, hey. So, yeah, it's called 30 Years to Life. Came out in 1998. It is actually set in the year 2020, which would be in 2 years. So the kind of technology in this movie is way beyond its time.
You want me to go live?
This is the other one that comes in the DVD. I already uploaded this one to YouTube. It's a really good movie. So yeah, that's in progress right now. Henry Danger's on. I want to watch something else. I wonder what's on. Today's Wednesday, isn't it? So my show isn't on tonight. Since when is the Hallmark Channel playing Full House? Interesting. I get enough of that on Nick at Night. I don't need to see this on the Hallmark Channel.
I don't know who Jerry is.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to typing in my live stream. Jerry, leave alone. Sorry, my Coke bottle's in the way.
You want to see some skin? The porn sites are. Go get them. They're right there for you. You're not going to get the porn on.
Oh my gosh, my nose is so stuffy. I'm so sick of this. I've got so many nasal sprays I take. Here's Rhinocort. I've got Q nasal here. This is a steroid mist puffy thingy. Oops. Oh my gosh. So tomorrow I am getting injections in my neck. Nerve block injections. 7:30 a.m. I have to be there. Getting 3 of them. They're 6-hour nerve blocks to see if it stops the pain. Like in my neck. Because I've got stenosis. And it's pinching on the nerves in my neck. Which causes pain down my arms and into my head. So the nerve block is like a diagnostic thing. And if it works, the doctor is going to use ablation on them and burn the nerves off. So I won't feel any pain anymore, which I'm kind of nervous about. I'm nervous about the injections, actually. I mean, they're sticking a fucking needle into my spine.
That's not true though, Sam. I do care.
I hear my name again being called on the computer. I'll go back there. Oh well, they're sedating me for this, so I won't be able to squirm and complain. Because I have a habit of doing that when a needle comes near me. Okay, let me see what's happening here. I have no idea. Okay, anyways. I just stepped on the DVD case. Oh! Stupid UFO shit. Bullshit.
Now I'm gonna do a quick change. I'll be right back.
She's changing clothes on. No, okay, I'm just gonna change clothes on the live stream. So who's all here? I can't see comments. I'm using my phone. I don't know how to use this crap. I'm not good with this. How do I chat? Show live messages. I don't see. Okay. Whatever. Oh, I'm turning this off. I'm not watching Full House right now. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Alaska monsters. Okay, teen travels to the woods of Hoover Valley to investigate a group of tree-dwelling Bigfoot. Now, this is my kind of show. Oh, it's this show. I don't like these guys. They're full of crap and they never find anything. JFK, the Lost Bullet. Okay, now we got some conspiracy theory shows happening. Now this I'm watching. I already know who killed JFK, but whatever. It's still entertaining. So what's everybody up to tonight? Pardon. Take a decongestant pill here. Hold on a second. I'm trying to open a water bottle up with one hand.
Yeah, jeez. Now I changed.
Library of Congress Packard campus for audio-visual conservation.
Hi.
Hi, you can't hear me. Why am I talking?
8mm films, and an 8mm frame is very, very small. In the case of the scanning process,
Still trying to figure out how to keep this thing.
higher than the native
Oh, my head hurts. Not allowed to take any Advil or anything though, because of the procedure tomorrow.
There's no way, really.
I was supposed to have stopped taking them 4 days ago, but I stopped yesterday. So 2 days is fine, I guess. I hope. Let's go outside and look at the moon real quick. It's snowed a little here. I'm quite pissed. Not too much though. Really cloudy. Crap. This isn't gonna work. Okay then. Another night.
Hey guys. Gotta cut this live short now.
Huh? What? What I meant?
Gotta cut the live short.
Oh.
I gotta cut the live short now because I got somebody I gotta talk to on Facebook. But Sam, I will get back with you, okay? Miss you, honey. I'll message you on Facebook, okay? Bye-bye for now.
Bye. Okay, that's over. Exit this. Let me see how many DVDs coming. Oh look, I'm live. Ooh. Sorry. I'm really bored. Oh, somebody else did a video on that JFK 4-seater car photo that I did. Should watch it. See what's up here.
There's so much activity, and our planet is right in the middle of it.
Welcome to Abnormal Truth, everyone. Thanks for clicking
Nelson
in.
Mandela.
I have a wild story for you guys today, and as usual, I want to know your opinion on it. Basically, what we have here is on 4chan, a gentleman came on claiming to be one of the scientists responsible.
Oh, I've heard about this 4chan guy. I don't know what to think of it. What do you guys think of it?
For yourself, I am going to give this link in the description below for you to check this out yourself.
Real or fake?
But
The scientist on 4chan.
The premise of his story is that the Earth got destroyed on 2012.
Adding this to my playlist
somehow
called
they
Mandela
uploaded the
Effect.
entirety of humanity's consciousness onto servers. So he's saying we now live on servers. So
Live where?
there's more to it than that, but basically this is on Reddit, and someone has saved.
Oh, I need to take some pain medicine. Hold on. Oh, here we go.
Fine acid can be seen pushing forward from the front of President Kennedy's head.
You know, the different posters on the thread
It adds to the evidence that bullet C didn't come from the grassy knoll, but from the direction of the Texas School Board.
No. Nobody shot from that building.
The assassination, witnesses like Amos Hewitt lead Dallas police to the 6th floor of this building.
This is what you see. Now,
Agent John Joe Howard worked on the original Secret Service investigation.
Of who he is. Remember, he's saying that he's one of the scientists responsible for the Mandela Effect.
Hi guys, there you are. I can see comments now. How's it going? Hold on, I'll get back to that video in a minute. I gotta take some of my pain medicine. Okay, get my water.
Several times in the red, it almost seems like it's not the same original poster, and I can't really tell because it's 4chan. Really hard to really figure out. But I have a feeling.
So this is this is what I use to live stream, guys. It's called OBS.
But I have a feeling this is just a picture from a reenactment.
Here's the photos I have up. I can move them around.
And I'm trying to hide it a little.
Add things like music to play.
This picture on the internet of a reenactment. Because this is so grainy and
Different
stuff that I can't
scenes
tell,
I have set
really
up for different streams.
Or not. And so
my computer's being stupid now. Hold on.
The best way to debunk this.
I hate this computer.
And the reason why I am approaching this way
it's completely frozen now. Oh, there we go.
Therefore, I do not believe.
We got the Hollow Earth photos in this scene. Here's
I did find it fascinating that they put this picture up because
what do we got in this one?
You know, it should be easy to find on the internet. I will be searching for that. If anybody's already found the exact, the exact picture of
I'm not
this,
sure what the photo is for
it
this.
turns out to be a reenactment, let me know.
This was for a different video I did.
Or something that I can go look at. But I will be looking at, scouring Google Images for this exact picture.
I've used this one a lot.
Exactly.
It's got a flat earth stuff.
Exactly.
I always sneak it. I am so obsessed with the Monopoly Man and his missing monocle. I put this in the article like everywhere. I'm sorry.
Videos on YouTube about it. And again, take some discretion when you're looking.
There it is again.
I can't even show you the thread myself and read it to you because I would have to go.
And of course, there it is again. There's my article I found about 52 stars on the flag, and here's the one I've been using recently.
A hoax, anyway. So, I think the best way to debunk this is to find this exact picture on the internet. And I've tried to see if anybody's debunked this so far. I couldn't find anything.
Because this guy is just talking. He's acting like me. He's just talking about nothing. I'm not watching it anymore. Here's the Convex Earth documentary I mentioned the other night on Robert Wood's stream. You can see I'm not done yet. I'm only 35 minutes in. But I'll finish this eventually. May as well subscribe to them. It's where scientists went out to prove whether or not the Earth has any curvature or not. What is that noise? Ah, okay, my movie is done. I can upload it to YouTube. Now let me test it first. This is gonna get a lot of views when I upload it. Yes, I know it's illegal, but I'm not doing it for any personal gain. I'm uploading it so people can watch it. It's a good movie. Now let me figure out where the heck it is. Let's see.
Trained like Lee Harvey Oswald as a Marine marksman in front of the 6th floor window of the book depository.
The shooter needs to move to his right, still some more.
Is it in my videos?
We're probably the first people to be in position since the FBI did the reconstruction.
If it's good quality, I'm uploading it now.
Even if the sniper is
I might edit it first.
Now, with the limo at the location for Bullet B, he takes aim at his target.
It's gonna take an hour to load up. Okay, here it comes. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. You can go a little faster. Oh, why is this so small?
That laser is striking John Kennedy at the back, at the base of his neck.
Out in a violent
And we see the civilians in exactly the place where
Quality, I guess, will do.
that's the infamous magic bullet.
What is this?
The bullet did not take a giant.
Oh, this is the other movie I've uploaded.
But with the president sitting higher than the governor,
Where'd it go?
and the seat being 6 inches inside, and you have a decline in the street here.
This is.
All these angles change.
I've live streamed this movie many times.
Well, Garrett's place back.
So this show how bullet could hit both men, but only if it came from a situation. That accounts for 2 of the 3 bullets.
Hi, Shauna. Rena, in response to your question, the movie is called 30 Years to Life. Came out in 1998. I don't know why it's so tiny. Is the other one so tiny too?
Welcome to the light side. Some moments are worth the journey.
Where's the other title too? Let me test the other one and let me see if it matches.
Halfway. I'm cooked tired.
Have you smelled this new liquid?
I'm getting frustrated.
It's new tiny unscented.
I'm looking in the wrong folder. It's under here. Lost Souls. Let's see if it's the same type. No, it's big. Why is the other one so tiny?
At Olive Garden. All new big Italian classics starting at $12. Too big to miss.
It's gonna look ridiculous when I upload it. Where'd it go?
Meatball you've ever seen. Tortilla stuffed, yes, cheese stuffed.
User.
Plus all the salad and breadsticks.
See, this is what happens when I use different accounts on my computer. I don't know what is where. What did I just do? No, I'm not moving. My videos.
I was overseas serving.
It was my very first car accident. We were here.
Oh man, I guess if it looks bad, I can just re-upload
The first
it.
thing they asked was, "Are you okay?" They always thank you for your service. It's nice because
Dare show my face.
You served.
Okay, uploading now.
USA members for life. See how much you could save with USA.
Upload video. Then I have to type things. I'll do it later. I want to type the plot in.
The complete balanced nutrition of Ensure with 9 grams of protein and 26.
So hold on, I can't see anybody's comments.
Always be you.
Now, TurboTax has CPAs who can review your return with you. I checked it, ma'am.
Oh, now I can. There we go. Okay. You're showing your house. I've never heard of it. Hi. Thanks for watching, Shauna. I'm not really talking about anything interesting right now. I'm just kind of bored.
Just listen. There's so much we want to show her.
I guess I can show pictures to you guys of I don't know what or I could go on newspapers.com and we can look up Mandela residue.
Why must fight so hard against it?
I don't feel like I don't have the motivation to do anything right now. Maybe some more caffeine will help. I can't open this. Hold on. Prop that up. Okay, hold on.
Then you've got a missing bullet. And we're really starting looking at all we could to see what happened to that bullet.
Okay, let's see. Have you watched the first pilot episode of the TV show The Crossing? No, I have not heard of it. I've never heard of it. Let's look it up. Would I just drop? Okay, let me type in The Crossing. If this computer will ever work. The Crossing. I can do bubbles.
Because if it's the first
I've never done this.
the total length of time that Oswald had to fire 3 shots.
The time it took to fire
Interesting.
the bullets is at the heart
Oh no, this is weird. Woo.
investigators look to the Zapruder film for answers.
Look, I'm a cartoon. This is all a simulation, guys. It's all fake.
People assumed that he had filmed the whole thing.
Okay, I'll stop playing.
One school of thought says Oswald had just under 9 seconds to fire the 3 shots.
The crossing. Okay.
Others believe it took as little as 6 seconds.
Interesting logo for the show is sort of portal. Let's see. Refugees from a war-torn country 180 years ago.
Now Max Holland has
180 years in the future start showing up in the present to seek asylum in an American town. Now, this sounds interesting.
wasn't recording.
Season 1 returns April 9th. How many episodes have there been so far?
He stopped because the film was precious.
10?
So he waited until he was sure he could see.
Well, looks like I have some watching to do.
Much further in
I'm excited.
the people were
Let's watch the trailer.
So Holland looks to the other home movies that
Believe you have a visitor, Jude.
before
I'm sorry to everyone.
started
I just need to borrow the sheriff real quick.
Let me turn on.
this eyewitness film of
Army chopper spotted a body down at Thorn Beach. I thought no one went to Thorn Beach.
custom agent at the
Not this time of year.
She's
breathing. She's breathing! Open your eyes. What is this?
What is he looking at? Okay, Rena. These people just washed up on the beach?
In the water.
I bet this is one of those shows that are telling the truth of something in plain sight. Something's in the water.
How that's possible.
You can't imagine what will become possible.
Over 400 people drowned. I just wish I knew.
Portal. An entrance to somewhere under the water. This is interesting.
But there's no war here.
There will be.
There will be. I bet that's talking about World War III.
What were you looking for in the hangar?
My daughter.
On your knees! Hands behind your head!
Did you see that?
This looks like one of those FEMA camps where everyone's gonna be killed.
And I don't know what I'm up against.
The United States is in big trouble, guys.
The ones you need to fear, they're already here.
We're all gonna be okay.
I have a town full of people wondering what's going on.
I am excited to watch this show.
First ones to come here. Just as the president passed the black and white sign. Which sign was it? Right there. It's right there. It was highways of which? Right.
Looks cool. So, let's see. Previous episode, most recent episode. Wait a minute. It's trying to say that the only episodes that exist are episode 1 and episode 10? I'm a bit confused here. No. Oh. There is only been 1 episode. They filmed 10 though, it looks like. So, the pilot. I'm gonna have to try to find it somewhere. I'm not gonna... Maybe it's on YouTube. That'd be cool. Much easier than me getting viruses, going to all these weird websites I go to for free movies. Okay, let's see what they're... Damn it! Commercial.
Who gave a picture of a
Oh, Martin Luther King, marked man. Now this is gonna be interesting. JFK, The Final Hours. That's coming on after. Martin Luther King again. Interesting night. Will and Grace is on. Ooh, I like this show. 911 The Bronx. This commercial makes me always feel so sad. These animals are so cute. And they do it on purpose. Because they know people can't resist a cute animal. And they want their $19 a month. TV is evil. If I had money, I'd probably be donating right now. Look at that dog. Look at it. So cute. Aww. I just want to take one home. Why can't I do that? So I was going through some papers earlier, guys, and I found the drawing I made when I made that video talking about parallel universes that I made, I think, in January. Well, I was talking about the Mandela Effect. Here's my ridiculous drawing of the United States. In South America, it's like a tongue. So what is everybody up to tonight? How do I type? Can I type something? I don't think I can type on my phone here. I don't see a button for it. Enable flash? No. Alright guys, we're going ghost hunting. I bet this is how they do all those shows on TV when they're ghost hunting. They just use this weird effect to make it look like it's nighttime out. Like right now, looks spooky, but in reality the lights are on. Hi Colin, what's up? Here's some bubbles. I wonder if I can see anything odd in my basement. I've seen strange things down here before. You guys are on my screen, I can't see anything. So, let me show you. Right there, an orb flew at me from there. Right at my face from where I'm standing. And I just moved out of the way and ran upstairs. I was so scared. and my friend was, I was actually talking to a friend on Skype when it happened, and he was teasing. He was like, "Oh, look, I see a ghost. It's over there," and he was like teasing, and I guess whatever the heck flew at me was like, "Haha, I can, I can tease you too." But I was so scared. Okay, I'm gonna go upstairs and stop playing around now. I really wish it wasn't cloudy. I want to go look at the moon. Ooh. Do I have any photos that I wanted to show you guys?
So usually get some like group assaults, you know, people get beat up outside of nightclubs or the scuffles while everyone's coming out of the nightclub.
Carmen Torrado was partying at a concert when she was attacked by them.
How's it going, Colin?
Really? Did you go unconscious when she hit you? You didn't. You were just screaming. Okay. And right now you just have pain in your head? Okay. Are you drinking tonight at all? A little bit? Way. Okay.
Oh, here's that one photo I made of the cruise missile. I don't know if I've shown this one yet. The Jiffy peanut butter.
You've got a pretty good laceration here. There's an artery right there that she just missed. But we should be able to close it and make it look good. But you gotta wait till it heals a little bit. Yeah, but then you can dial it up all you want, no problem. Okay?
Dr. Rosen takes Carmen to minor surgery to stitch up her wound.
So how pointy were the needles that she had on? Were they pointier than yours?
Yes.
They were. They were like real sharp points. This is gonna sting a bit when I put it in, the anesthesia. Sorry, I told you it's gonna hurt a little bit, but it's gonna go numb after this. Don't do that to my hand, because then it's gonna hurt even more. Sorry, okay.
I don't think I've shown all these photos, have I? Oh yeah, here's one of those residues of the thinker. Somebody, a painting, an old painting. His elbow is in between his legs. I know I have a second one here. Oh yeah.
54-year-old Juan Mendez was sleeping in a subway station when he was attacked.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Both of these have a different hand. What is this supposed to be now? Which arm is supposedly the one he has up now? I can't see your guys' comments. Oh yeah, I actually did not see the entire episode, but I saw clips of it on YouTube. They were calling it something else, a different name for it, the something effect. But I really think I should watch it. Ooh, my phone is dying. Let me put it on the charger. But yeah, I plan on watching the entire episode because I think there's some stuff that are in it that probably they're trying to tell us. Oh, Colin, you were asking about flat Earth things. Let me see here. This is the magnetic North Pole. Right in the very center, this mountain right here is electromagnetic. It's called Eden Maru. This is referring to the black sun, or the inner sun inside the earth. This entire zodiac chart here has to do with the earth being flat and hollow inside. All these photos I have they all show this mountain in the middle. And every culture has it. I think this is showing flight paths or something. Now, how did this get here? An ice cap at the North Pole. How is this on this map?
With a mop and bucket is a hassle, meaning you probably don't clean as often as you'd like. For a quick and convenient clean, try Swiffer Wet Jet. There's no heavy bucket.
It's this middle. Does anybody know what this is? The Orions. What is this a map of? I have no idea. I don't see your guys' comments. If somebody knows, can you please tell me? Can't zoom in and read what these things say. But this is clearly a map. I just don't know what it is. I'm looking for comments. If nobody says anything, I'm gonna close it. Okay, closing. Here we go. The North Pole with this cute little ladder leading down. Is that supposed to be the sun? What is this? Lynn is what from here? I don't know. I have no idea what this is. It just says at the top of it, Orions. And at the bottom, I don't know. Sapien Trio OCC1 Mary. I don't know what this says. I don't know where I found it. Oh, here's Adam and Eve. The Tree of Life at the top there. Various different drawings from different cultures all talking about the same thing at the very North Pole. This one shows a pyramid, actually. Here's somebody made this. I don't know what this is.
My goodness. This fellow has
A tree of life at the center.
so we're seeing the septum right here.
These are,
It's an accumulation of blood between the skull and the brain tissue.
I don't know.
If that continues to bleed and continue to compress the brain, you'll have a decrease in function. And,
Here it is. Big tree in the center. Yeah, supposedly that Mount Meru at the North Pole actually is the tree of life. It was cut down. Now it's just a big mountain. Here's some crap showing a sphere Earth with a big hole in the middle. I don't think this is what it is. What is this? I don't know what that is.
Juan must stay in intensive care in case his condition worsens.
An old map from 1531 showing the North Pole with the islands. Another map. This is from 1633. 4 islands. Ezekiel's wheel. What is Ezekiel's wheel? What is it? Here we go. Another old map, 1546. I like this about South America. Oh, no, South America is still way too out. Still. Here we go again. The North Pole. Oh my gosh. This is important. There is supposedly land at the bottom of South America that we are not supposed to know about. And it is quite interesting here that this is showing it, but this big black bar just happens to be covering it up. It's fascinating. But there are so many old maps that show it connected to the bottom of South America. And apparently it comes before the Antarctic ice wall. Possibly. I mean, I'm not sure. What does this map show? It won't open. Won't open. Could it be this island here? What is that? What is this? Nova Vena? I don't think this is supposed to be here. Where's Australia? There is no Australia here. This is weird. Unless this is Australia. If it is, this would be New Zealand. And look, it's up, not down. Oh. This is South America, supposedly directly touching this continent, which they're trying to say is Antarctica. So, look what it's called. Circus Antarcticus. Circle. Say circle. Oh. Oh, hold on, I don't know what your comment just said. Let me scroll, read these things here. The top of Australia, that red squid thing. What red squid thing? You talking about the drawings of these sea monsters? Hold on. Sam, have you ever watched on YouTube the bases Dublin, Miles Johnson, and Carrie Cassidy? Some interesting. No, I have no idea. I have no idea what that is, but I'll watch it. Take a screenshot of that. Well, let me take a screenshot of this. Well, I don't know what. Shoot. I took a screenshot after it disappeared. Hold on. That's Cape York. Oh, wait, this? Is this where I'm... Is this supposed to be... So, if that's Australia over there, what is this place? This shouldn't exist. I'm gonna have to look into whatever this is. Nova... I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. This map doesn't show strange. It does. It does show the island. Look, the island is on this map too, partially cut off. These old maps are so strange. Hi, Vanny Rose. This is called the Aurora Borealis, or the Northern Lights. And they're supposed to have originated from inside the North Pole. What's this map? This map is really strange. I don't see Australia at all. I don't know what. I'm gonna have to look into this mysterious island off of the west coast of South America. It's strange. Oh, here's Game of Thrones depicting an ice wall. Look, mammoths. Admiral Byrd said he saw mammoths at the North Pole. I'm gonna play his famous line because it really haunts me, the words he says. And when he mentions the North Pole, he talks about that people found it really useful to live in. He doesn't say on. He says the word specifically in. I'm gonna play this.
Brought to you every Monday, Wednesday, a presentation.
Hi, Timmy. I love you.
Maker of Longines, the world's most honored watch, and Whitnor, distinguished companion to the world-honored Longines. Bird.
The North Pole used to be a no man's land, but these are the days when, by buying a ticket on a commercial airliner, you can fly across the North Pole and drink a cocktail at the same time. You know, only 60 or more years ago, about 35 years ago, our guest tonight found out whether there was any land north of the North American continent. He made that first discovery flight, and I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left
Listen to this.
Earth
Listen to this.
that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily.
Live in.
It's enough there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole, on the other side of the South Pole, from Middle America.
Beyond the pole, on the other side of the South Pole.
Astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
That's a tremendous
So there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Well, Admiral, do you want to see that?
I do.
Well, Admiral, would you say that since you've been...
Militarily. But strangely enough,
play it
there's
again.
left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole, on the other side of the South Pole, from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
It's a tremendous
So
job.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Well, Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I do.
Well, Admiral,
Yeah.
would you say that since you've been to both the extremities of Earth, are these expeditions to such far-off places, are they getting easier because of modern techniques, or is danger still close at hand?
Well, it's a little risky, but nothing like it used to be with the old slow planes and the small cruising radius where we had to put down bases. We replaced the dog team, of course, a big improvement. But now the planes go much faster and they're safer and have a much radius. You haven't got the danger of a terribly heavy load.
Alright, here is Admiral Byrd's diary.
North Pole and Vice Admiral Richard E. Byrd's
which was discovered after he died, which apparently he was killed.
Rear Admiral Richard Evelyn Byrd Jr.
for knowing too
was an
much.
American naval officer who specialized in feats of exploration. He was a recipient of the Medal of Honor, the highest honor for valor given by the United States, and was a pioneering American aviator, polar explorer, and organizer of polar logistics. On May 9, 1926, Admiral Byrd took off from the Norwegian Arctic island of Spitzenberg along with his pilot Floyd Bennett in an attempt to be the first to fly to the North Pole. About 16 hours later, the pair returned to the island in their Fokker trimotor airplane, the Josephine Ford, saying that they had indeed accomplished the feat. Byrd submitted his navigational records to the U.S. Navy and a committee of the National Geographic Society, one of his sponsors, who could accomplish according to the Ohio State University libraries. Byrd was hailed as a hero
How are you,
and
sweetie?
given the Medal of Honor. However, for some unknown reason, Admiral Byrd's official accounts of his journey were not long after disproved and even denied as inconclusive. When you learn of what Admiral Byrd claims to have found and experienced on his Arctic North Polar journey, it becomes clear why the official channels of society may have quickly decided to dismiss his claims. However, we must take into consideration the fact that Rear Admiral Richard E. Byrd was a well-respected member of society and highly decorated member of the U.S. Navy. In 1964, Dr. R.
Char, can you hear me?
B.A.,
I'm right here.
M.A., and Ph.D. best describes the situation surrounding Admiral Byrd's accounts of his North Polar exploration. The distinguished professor in his book The Hollow Earth wrote the following about Admiral Richard E. Byrd. He opens with two of Byrd's most famous quotes. "I'd like to see that land beyond the North Pole. That area beyond the pole is the center of the great unknown.
What the hell?
That enchanted continent in the sky.
Enchanted
land of
continent in the
everlasting
sky?
Dr. Bernard
What the
then proceeds with the
fuck? I've never
following
heard that
analysis.
quote.
The above two statements by the greatest explorer in modern times, Rear Admiral Richard E. Byrd of the United States Navy, cannot be understood nor make any sense according to old geographical theories that the Earth is a solid sphere with a fiery core, on which both the North and South Poles are fixed points. If such was the case, and if Admiral Byrd flew for 1,700 and 2,300 miles
I'm okay tonight,
across
Char,
the North
actually.
and South Poles to the icy and snowbound
Tomorrow
lands
I've got
that lie
those
on the
neck
other side,
injections.
whose geography is fairly well known, it would be incomprehensible for him to make such a statement, referring to this territory on the other side of the poles as the Great Unknown. Also, he would have no reason to use such a term as land of everlasting mystery. Byrd was not a poet, and what he described was what he observed from his airplane. During his Arctic flight of 1,700 miles beyond the North Pole, he reported by radio that he saw below him not ice and snow, but land areas consisting of mountains, forests, green vegetation, lakes and rivers, and in the underbrush saw a strange animal resembling the mammoth found in frozen Arctic ice. Evidently, he had entered a warmer region than the icebound territory that extends from the pole to Siberia. If Byrd had this region in mind, he would have no reason
Here, let me
to call
pause
it the
it
Great
for a
Unknown.
sec. My facet joints in my neck, they are blocking the nerves in them temporarily for diagnostic purposes to see if it stops the pain, and if it does, I'm going to burn the nerves off with ablation. And I'm kind of nervous about this. I don't like needles. So, they're gonna sedate me though, so. Not put me to sleep, just make me, loopy. So I can't, move around and moan. Because I'm a big baby, I'm sorry.
Since it could be reached by flying across the pole to the other side of the Arctic region. The only way that we can understand birds' enigmatical statements is if we discard the traditional concept of the formation of Earth and entertain an entirely new one. To repeat, bird now have
Char, good song.
Earth's known surface in mind when he
Fanny Rose, appreciate it.
But rather a new, hitherto unknown land area, free from ice and snow, with green vegetation, forests, and animal life that exists on Earth. Only on the basis of this conception can we understand Admiral Byrd's statements. In February 1947, Admiral Byrd.
Oh, really, Tammy? Here, let me pause it so I can.
North Pole known area.
Did he have any complications? Did it work? Hi, Miss Wright. Thanks for stopping in. Haven't seen you in a while. How are you, hon?
Area made the following statement. That area beyond the pole is the center of the great unknown. Millions of people read this statement in their daily newspapers.
Love you too.
And millions thrilled at the Admiral's subsequent flight to the pole and to a point 1,700 miles beyond it. Millions heard the radio broadcast description of the flight, which was also published in newspapers. What land was it? Look at your map. Calculate the distance from all the known lands we have previously mentioned. Siberia, Spitsbergen, Alaska, Canada, Finland, Norway, Greenland, and Iceland. A good portion of them are well within the 1,700-mile range, but none of them are within the 200.
Yeah, the doctor told me that the nerve block's only like 6 hours, and I'm supposed to keep like a pain log, and then at the end of the 6 hours, I write my final entry. Miss you too. Tammy, what does he have wrong with his neck that he had done?
100 miles of the pole. Byrd over no known land. He himself called it the great unknown. It is indeed. For after 1,700 miles over land, he was forced by gasoline supply shortage to return, and he had not yet reached the end of it. He should have been back to civilization, but he was not. He should have seen nothing but ice-covered ocean, very much open ocean. Instead, he was over mountains covered with forest. Forests. Incredible. The northernmost limit of the timberline is located well down into Alaska, Canada, and Siberia. North of that line, no tree grows. All around the North Pole, the tree does not grow within 1,700 miles of the pole. What have we here? We have the well-authenticated flight of Admiral Richard E. Byrd to a land beyond the pole that he so much wanted to see, because it was the center of the great unknown, the center of mystery. Apparently, he had his wish gratified to the fullest, yet today, nowhere is this mysterious land mentioned. Why? Was that 1947 flight fiction? Did all the newspapers lie? Did the radio from Byrd's plane lie? No. Admiral Byrd did fly beyond the pole. Beyond? What did the Admiral mean when he used that word?
He flew inside.
How is it possible to go beyond the pole? Let us consider for a moment. Let us imagine that we are transported by some miraculous means to the exact point of the North Magnetic Pole. We arrive there instantaneously, not knowing from which direction, and all we know is that we are to proceed from the pole to Spitsbergen.
I'm sorry, hold on, I can't see the message, it keeps vanishing. Okay. He had throat cancer in 2004. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I feel really bad for... He can't talk at all, even he can't talk because of the stroke or because of the voice box removal.
But where is Spitsbergen? Which way do we go? South, of course. But which south? all directions from the North Pole are south. This is actually a simple navigational problem. All expeditions to the pole, whether flown or by submarine or on, have been faced with this problem.
Good stuff.
Either they must retrace their steps, discover which direction is the correct one to their destination, whichever it has been determined. The problem is solved by making a turn in any direction and proceeding approximately 20 miles. Then we stop, measure stars, correlate with our compass reading, which no longer points straight down, but towards the North Magnetic Pole, and plot our course on the map.
This is not what I wanted to show. Admiral Byrd flight into the Hollow Earth 1947. Let's see what this video is. He can't because of the stroke.
Four planes
Is he in any speech therapy, huh?
California and Arizona combined. Over freezing wastes without people, without life, without vegetation. Nature's most formidable challenge to man. The four planes are gassed up. All controls triple checked. Motors heated. For they face cold as extreme as 60 below. Unrelenting.
Where's the video I want? Hitler and Admiral Byrd both visited.
High school in 1938.
Anything happened and we...
The source of paradise. Scores of myths talk about it.
There or en route there, it did find that loyalty was the most important thing during the winter night when it's very hard on your nerves.
Oh, not at all?
Yes, I think that's straight.
That's a very valuable characteristic of any time. Well, thank you very much, Admiral Byrd. It's been a great pleasure to have you here tonight.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
We shall not cease from exploration. In the end of all our exploring...
Oh, 10 years together? Aww. Does he, sign language does he do? Or, like, what about, I know they have these devices where you put up to, like, your throat, and I don't know if...
will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time when the tongues of flame are enfolded into...
Is that the video I wanted?
But do I not see the light of day? Do I not hear the whistling of the wind? Ah, our geological science must be in its infancy. A myriad of books, all exploring the idea of a hidden paradise in a secret place. Now,
Yeah, he's had the device after. Oh, so after the stroke, he can't do it at all. Oh man.
Random thoughts? Maybe.
I'm really sorry, Tammy, to
It's
hear.
well documented how the Eastern world looks at the idea of the Hollow Earth. In religion, it's considered a true geographic and metaphysical place. Many Tibetan monks won't even discuss the location of the secret entrances to the Hollow Earth. Some Buddhists, when they talk about the journey within, they mean the journey within the soul and the journey within the earth. When asked if the inner earth wasn't just some imaginary place of the mind, the Dalai Lama stated emphatically, no, definitely not. Shambhala has a material existence in this world. There are certain places in the world which are considered geographical access points, like Mount Pago Punsum in Tibet, Stonehenge in England, Mount Shasta
Love
in
you
California,
lots, Tammy.
certain caverns in South America, caves at the bottom of the ocean floor, and of course, the openings at the North and South Poles. The Western idea that the Earth was hollow began in the scientific community in 1628, when British astronomer Edmund Halley of comet fame proposed,
I believe the Earth consists of concentric spheres like a Chinese puzzle box. These spheres support life and are bathed in perpetual light.
Halley also had definite ideas about the aurora borealis.
Now we know the world is flattened at the poles, so the outer layer of the Earth, the outer layer of my Chinese box, could be thinner, allowing gas to escape from the interior of the Earth.
Then along came John Sims with his Sims holes theory in the 1800s.
Hi, Colin. Welcome back.
Halley was right about the concentric spheres, but he missed the openings at the poles. The oceans flowing in and out of these openings, and I feel there is no doubt there are also inhabitants inside the Earth.
Sims' theory caused enough excitement to inspire Congress and the President of the United States to finance the Wilkes Sea Expedition. Lieutenant Charles Wilkes, it was the first major American sea quest to locate and explore the hollow Earth. President Adams exclaimed,
I am fascinated by the possibilities. We need to be willing to go forward in discovering new lands, expanding our horizons. I say give them the money. This could be the greatest discovery since America.
The Smithsonian was created to house all the artifacts found during the sea quest. It's true. The Smithsonian and the hollow Earth. Perhaps new discoveries from the hollow Earth found on future expeditions will end up in the Smithsonian. In 1929, Marshall B. Gardner, the author of A Journey to the Earth's Interior, or Have the Pole Really Been Discovered, wrote,
I find all the previous theories to be somewhat on the right track, but in addition, I believe the interior of the Earth is being illuminated by a sun that is approximately 600 miles in diameter, and the holes at the poles are definitely over 1,000 miles in diameter.
Gardner went on to challenge all claims made by any explorers who had previously found the poles. One of the most controversial hollow Earth theorists was Cyrus Teed, who declared in 1897,
we actually live inside the Earth. We live on the inner surface of the shell, and inside of the hollow are the sun, moon, stars, planets, and comets. There is absolutely nothing on the outside. The inside is all there is.
I've heard that theory before. I'm not so sure I like it though. It doesn't make sense. Fake aliens. I'm typing, here.
And sent communications back to their loved ones. The ISC is in possession.
I want to show Colin some stuff here.
Alright, we're going to be doing a little bit of conspiracy theorizing. Not fact, not conspiracy fact, but conspiracy theorizing. For the sport of conspiracy theorizing. I don't necessarily believe this, but this is some food for thought. This came across my plate. Was this world map made 10 centuries ago? And there's a story behind it. There's like a newspaper with it. Supposedly this came from like, I don't know, 1909 or somewhere. Who knows? Who knows if it's real? You know, it's probably a hoax. However, the concept is important because it helps put a lot of stuff into perspective. So here we see there's 33 additional continents to the 7 continents that we know of. Although on the flat earth map, there's only 6. Same with the UN flag, there's only 6. And then the ice wall surrounds the whole planet. We have the Admiral Byrd video where he said he found that big landmass after Antarctica. So, you know, what was that landmass he was talking about? Well, it's depicted here, but so are 32 others. I used to believe in aliens because the way we organize ourselves and the way existence is on Earth, there has to be some form of an alien force that was us. But now that we see the breakaway civilization exists in abundance outside of the ice wall, and I just posted the video about Tomorrowland, about how the breakaway civilization intended to keep the savage masses out of Tomorrowland, out of the breakaway civilization. They placed nice barriers to entry. The vast, vicious, treacherous ocean. If you should happen to get past it, you have the big ice wall perimeter. If you should clear that, and this is all what Mark Sargent said in the Bird Wall episode of Flat Earth Clues. And if you should get past all that, the air is thin, there's no food, no gas stations. But if you could get past all that, all those barriers, the moat, the ice wall, then you could find all these missing continents, Atlantis, Lemuria, El Dorado. Here we were all of this time, civilization was living in space, or living. But imagine if they're the ones that are controlling our civilization by people, require people to have occupations that take up 40 hours of their work week, to keep people so occupied that they'll never have time to go explore and potentially stumble upon all of their lands outside of the supposed Antarctic ice wall. Maybe that's where the rocket ships go. When they blast off, instead of going to space, maybe they just need that rocket boost in order to clear the ice wall and all of the ice that's there. I mean, I'm just guessing, we're conspiracy theorizing here. But seeing this picture reminds me of Westworld, when the main character, well, one of the main characters' father found that photograph, and he lived in Westworld, which was back in time, in the old Western times, and he sees this photograph of a woman in a city with skyscrapers, which would appear as if it's the future to him, the present to us. And seeing something like that, and seeing something like this picture that we just saw with these continents out there, it kind of puts a little bit of the idea together. Maybe there really aren't 33 continents, but if the flat earth map is real, oh, and it makes sense why the NASA feed from the ISS, which always cuts off, you know, they show you like 15 minutes per hour, but then they cut it off, or I don't know the exact number. It's like you see it and then it goes black. So I bet you it's going black when it's going over all the breakaway civilizations. If not, why wouldn't they just show it 24 hours? Why would it not be an uncut feed if they're not hiding something? Well, you know, they're entitled to their land, they're entitled to their privacy.
I have a really
but
cool
what they're not
video
entitled
to
to
show
do
you guys.
is to propagandize us, lie to us, give us false.
This is exactly the theory I thought about our Earth was.
Maybe we're the aliens. Maybe the outer perimeter has even more life forms and resources and inhabitable land. As we go through this transitioning, this big mass awakening, I'm sure some of you can already feel it and sense it. More and more of you guys are going to come to your own truths faster and faster than ever before. We have our toroidal fields. These electromagnetic fields protect and separate all the lands. They also oscillate at different speeds, giving us all our rotations of the different planets. Next, the suns and moons are put in place. 3 suns, 3 moons, with Mercury in the middle, acting as both a sun and a moon. And there you have it. Earth, the universe, within a multiverse, within a masterverse. We can't get past lower Earth orbit. That's that first toroidal field to the lands of Mars and Venus. The Antarctic is not the South Pole. The Antarctic is the perimeter around that first toroidal field. When they talk about alien life forms or other life forms, it means coming from these other lands. So who knows what's beyond those perimeters? That could be the land of the aliens. Maybe we're the aliens. Maybe the outer perimeter has even more life forms and resources and inhabitable land. Maybe some of us already get to go there. One thing's for sure, if this is true, I can see why they'd want to hide it. The resources on these plains. Next, chaos, panic. The elite have done a great job at the divide and conquer campaigns over the last generations. Now, it's down to gender wars, identity wars, regional wars, resource wars, and the most important, the war on your mind, body, soul, spirit, perceptions, indoctrination of who you think you should become and what you should spend your life doing. We're not unified, and that's the last thing they want. This scares some people. This makes others laugh. They'll continue believing we're spinning on a ball, defying all kinds of logistics. But okay. The cool thing though, is we're having a mass awakening. All the holy books pretty much tell this same story, just giving all the variables and planets and suns and moons their own names and actors and stories to go by. Being in the arts for the last 25 years, well, my whole life really, but professionally for 25 years, I understand one thing's for sure about music, art, feelings, and this world itself, and that's frequencies and oscillations. And we all come from a sine wave, operate in oscillations and cycles, and so does this planet. It breathes, it goes through cycles, it goes through patterns. The suns and moons go through multiple oscillations at the same time. This model also explains lunar and solar eclipses rather easily. Rainbows,
let me pause real quick. People are constantly saying they're seeing 2 suns in the sky. Now, if it is true that we are here in this circle and there's another circle with its own sun, another sun, what if, in fact, it is a second sun? We're seeing this district's sun. And all the other planets that we're seeing are just the other suns. Or here, let's finish watching.
Etc. also rather easily. The point of this, if any, don't let it scare you, even if all of it is true. If anything, this should help you at least gain some knowledge, become a little more illuminated, and understand your life, your body, your mind, your soul is also a big oscillation machine, and you should be oscillating every single day at your full potential, so that if this next life, previous life, we are our own ancestors thing is true, you can ascend in your next lifetime to becoming your own star of stars.
I had my eyes closed, my ignorance was bliss, but then it died slow as I replaced it with my fist. Now I'd rather know and rise from this abyss. Now that I'm aware that I'm infinite consciousness, I had my eyes closed, ignorance was bliss. Now I'm being told to spread these messages. The threats might hollow or is not serious. I reject Rain Man and my brother's tongue get wet. I had my eyes closed. I had my eyes closed, My ignorance was bliss, but then it died slow as I replaced it with my fist. Now I'd rather know and rise from this abyss. Now that I'm aware that I'm infinite consciousness, I have my eyes closed. Ignorance was bliss. Now I'm being followed for spreading these messages. The threats might be hollow, our response serious. I reject Rain Man and the brothers don't get wet. I have my eyes closed.
You can see that there is such thing as space. However, it's not to go to other planets up there, it's to go to outer lands beyond our perimeter. Why can't we go to the perimeters? This is why, right here. These are called toroidal fields. You guys know them as the Van Allen belts. There are 5 toroidal fields that separate the lands and give each its own ecosystem, its own sun and moon, and give each its own atmosphere and rotate and oscillate to give the earth its breathing system. Okay, this allows the whole orb to breathe in and out. And these toroidal fields protect each perimeter, or we can call them districts. So we are on the center one, and you'll see 4 here with a tiny one in the center of our earth, which is the North Pole. Okay, there is an actual polar field there. There is actual energy there. Compasses get pulled there. So let's take a closer look. These electromagnetic fields all oscillate at different speeds. So if we go by this theory, then the sun's traveling around us at around 1,000 miles an hour. And the other stars are also traveling in their respective speeds in their own perimeters. The second perimeter with Mars is 67,000 miles an hour, and the outer perimeter is close to 500,000 miles an hour. So all of these have their own oscillations, both the actual rings and the actual planets or sun and moons within them. Each of these lands, each of these rings has 4 atmospheres to go along with it. And that is the troposphere on the bottom part, the stratosphere just above us, the mesosphere, and then the thermosphere. And again, going back to the vortex that spins from above and below is what gives all of these their oscillations. We're going to talk more about oscillations a little later because they are very, very important. Okay, so now let's break down the planets. Each land has its own sun and moon. Mercury, which is the very center of centers of everything in the North Pole, is both a sun and moon. Okay, it is both, therefore we're not counting it here. We're saying there's 3 suns and 3 moons, man and woman, left and right, positive, negative. Each land has its own ecosystem. This is where the theory of extraterrestrials or extra terrain, extra land, come from. The outer ring may also be where dinosaurs, creatures, aliens, again, a different ecosystem, different light sources, colors, air, breath, everything is different. So, when they say they're trying to explore outer space, it doesn't really mean up, because those are luminaries, those are stars, those cannot be landed on. They mean outer lands beyond the perimeters known as the South Pole or the Antarctic.
Space. That makes sense now. The outer space.
And here we see 3 going around in circles. Now some are oscillating faster than others, but they're all generally going in a circle. And they are now going to oscillate in a lot of different ways as well. Here you see the original oscillation to the different types of patterns you can create while doing your big oscillation. So this is a double oscillation. And here you can see that all the planets are also moving up and down over their oscillations as well. So we have a big oscillation, then a pattern within that as a secondary oscillation, then we're moving up and down as a third oscillation, and they're changing patterns over time and could be adding and removing other oscillations. And I do think we are in a special time. It's not just, let's prove the Earth is flat. What's beyond that? So what if it is? Well, what might be outside those perimeters? Maybe there are things we need to protect ourselves from. And or maybe it is just a bunch of land we cannot get to, but every country, every government would love to chop it up, carve it up, because there's so many precious resources out there. So of course, me showing you this stuff's probably making you reject it instinctively, because your whole life you've been told we're living on a ball that's spinning in outer space, in infinity. And in part, some of that might be true. Singularity could be the Big Bang. Our whole universe might well be flying through infinite void. But our actual land that we live on, well, I'll let you be the judge. Or you've ended up on this video because you've already discovered your own truth. So what I'm trying to say, when you do listen to frequencies, watch movies, do your day-to-day, take in 5,000 logos, 400 cents, 300 people's eye contact, and energies overlapping yours, think about what your purpose in this life is. Because my goal is to help you guys ascend to a higher state of consciousness, become illuminated, and you too are nothing but a big oscillation machine. When you breathe in and out, that's oscillating. When you walk, your whole body is oscillating. When you sleep, you're going through a cycle. Everything about us is oscillating, and you should be oscillating to your full potential in this beautiful universe. In between the fourth and fifth toroidal fields is where the firmament sits. This is where all the stars are attached and fixated as they do their oscillation as well. This firmament is what prevents us from going up. In fact, there's footage online of rockets being sent up by independent teams.
That's
and
true.
You can clearly see it.
I have seen these
there before coming back down. Now, if you look up Operation Fishbowl and Operation High Jump, you'll come across some interesting information regarding the efforts that the governments have put in to try to get through the firmament. All the holy books were simply metaphorical stories to explain exactly what I just showed you. I don't believe they were actual people. I believe they were depicting everything you see here, and all the variables were given their own characters. I'm going to stick to the Bible here, just to give you guys a couple random examples, and then please refer to any of it for yourselves to see if you can pinpoint the metaphor. When they say Jesus died on the cross, that is a metaphor for Jesus is Christ. Christ represents consciousness.
Yeah, I'm not buying this. I'm Catholic, so
the cross is the crux.
You guys
the cross section,
interpret this how you want.
The middle point of middle points. And if we look at the cross in a 3D format, you'll notice it's not a plus symbol. The center horizontal piece is moved up because on the universe, we are not in the center of centers. We are up a little bit on that third plane, right? So when consciousness died at the cross section of our universe, that is the North Pole. And when they say follow the North Star, that is Polaris. And the birth of Jesus is also under the North Star. The very center of the first toroidal field inside is known as the Garden of Eden. That is a holy place. That is a spiritual place. So when Christ was crucified,
this is just this guy's interpretation of the Bible. I personally believe
because you
God created all this.
The moons, ascended into heaven, and 3 days later was reborn. Again, a metaphor for reincarnation or your next cycle, your next
He's
life.
Basically talking about the Big Bang, which I don't believe in at all.
Lives, we are our own ancestors.
He didn't. This
comes from as well.
This is just his
also,
Bible interpretation.
The Father, Son, and Holy Spirit derives from this too. Pretty much every single thing you see in the holy books, it's a story and a metaphor to explain one of these variables in this beautiful universe.
I'm
People
glad
in
he's done
ancient
with that.
times simply had this knowledge and again told it to us in story format or in book format or in holy book format. There is a creator. Something designed this thing.
Yeah, God.
Be it a simulation of a simulation or a great designer, a god, a greater
God,
being.
see?
And not to mention, they'd have to finally fess up that they've been lying this whole time and give us full disclosure, which may well happen. It's actually an exciting time as more people wake up. There's a lot to explore. There's a lot to learn. And it's amazing to finally realize we don't know that much about ourselves or where we live. At least not most of us. I always thought there must be some order. It's not just all chaos and random. And this was my final missing link to that thinking. There very well may be other life forms out there, aliens or whatever, but they're depicted very negatively, low frequencies, ugly creatures. They may be way ahead of us and looking at us as the aliens or the pests, the destructive species that can't even get into their own harmony. Keep them away from us. Could be what they're saying. Never really know. So what's after this? Well, they say if you lived out your karma properly, you ascend. If not, you're doing this again. Is there going to be a part 2? Who knows? Hopefully, all of us will be actually living it instead of watching it on your screens. I still believe I've made it to where I've made it to in life because I've challenged everything and I've not been definitive with my thinking, especially when it comes to belief systems, politics, the way I oscillate in this lifetime, and how I spend my time and resources and efforts to try to achieve my goals. As we go through this transitioning, this big mad awakening, I'm sure some of you can already feel it and sense it. More and more of you guys are going to come to your own truths faster and faster than ever before. So if anything, I'd love for you guys to at least keep an open mind to this and anything that is presented in front of you as fact and definitive. If you can't touch it yourself, explore it yourself, see it yourself, not just on a television screen, not just through news, not just through an organization, be it government or not, then don't just blindly believe it just because you've been told something your whole life. It doesn't make it true. But do your own research. And the 5 most important words that I don't think they want me telling you, they're simple. All you need is love.
I like that. Everything you said in there is spot on to what my theory of where we live is, except his interpretation of the Bible. I really do believe in God and Jesus and that he created all of this. But everything else he said is exactly what I thought we live on. Ooh.
What if I told you that the Earth that you and I exist in right now may be one of many Earths? Many strange things have occurred over the centuries that have puzzled philosophers and scientists alike, changing the perception about what we thought we knew about our world. But none have been more world-shaking than the several pieces of evidence that tie together to suggest that our world may not be the only one of its kind. In fact, there may be other worlds, or for that matter, other realities. Here are 10 pieces of evidence that alternate realities exist. Number 1 is the double slit experiment. The double slit experiment was set up to fire electrons at a piece of material with 2 slits in it to see how they impacted the wall behind the material. What the researchers discovered was that instead of producing 2 slit marks on the wall behind the sheet, it produced a wave-like pattern. So instead of acting like particles, the electrons seem to act like waves, interfering with each other even when only one was fired at a time. Stranger still is that when they added a camera to see which slit individual electrons were going through, suddenly they started acting more like particles, producing only two slit-like shapes on the wall. This observation suggested that the electrons were aware that they were being observed. The electrons are actually existing in multiple places at once in what's known as superposition, which in of itself proves that A, we don't know as much about the universe as we thought we knew, and B, it's possible that a number of things exist in multiple places, i.e. different realities. Number 2 are unexplained artifacts. There have been many artifacts found over time in archaeological dig sites that, based on carbon dating, should not have existed during that time. Ruins of old civilizations, for example, have been found dating back to a time when human life was said to not exist, such as the London hammer found in the 1930s but belonging to a time over 500 million years ago. There was also the Antikythera mechanism, known as the first analog computer made of bronze gears dating back to around 100 to 150 BCE. Nobody seems to be able to explain how these artifacts were developed in societies that lacked such advanced technological knowledge, leading many to believe that they may have slipped through a parallel universe into ours. Number 3 are repeating universes. There are many who claim that the Big Bang itself could be proof that there are other worlds. One theory suggests that the Big Bang theory was so powerful, it created, along with the universe and everything in it, something called the eternal return. The eternal return suggests that our universe is bound to repeat itself over and over again. If this were so, it also mean that there may be an infinite number of parallel universes which could contain a world exactly like ours, with the same people, stories, and history, though it could also differ ours. Be appearing as a ghost to someone in another reality. Another explanation for ghostly apparitions could be that there are humans that live alongside us but exist in a realm that we can't actually perceive with our senses. Number 5 is the fourth dimension. Our current understanding of the universe as it is exists through our perception of the 3 dimensions we exist in: length, width, and height. But we're actually able to get glimpses into the 4th dimension from time to time. With the 4th dimension in existence, that suggests that there may be a 5th or even a 6th. The 4th dimension is only theoretically known to exist, and is something that only a few mathematicians and physicists can only be described as an alternate Earth. Whatever the parameters are for existence in dimensions beyond our own, if we experience them, it will change how we view reality forever. Number 6 is the Large Hadron Collider. The Large Hadron Collider is the largest and most powerful particle accelerator built by the European Organization for Nuclear Research, or CERN. Located in Switzerland, there are many speculations and conspiracy theories around what this ultra-powerful machine is actually being used for. Aside from studying microscopic particle collisions at 1/3 the speed of light and proving the existence of the Higgs boson, or the God particle, they've been discovering more and more evidence to prove the existence of alternate worlds. And much of this has to do with gravity. The force of gravity that blankets our Earth and keeps it on is actually a weaker force than that of a fridge magnet that you put on your fridge. Through studies conducted with
the video I was looking for. I want to watch this one.
Is the European Organization of Nuclear Research, or as it's better known, CERN, responsible for the Mandela Effect? It has been a theory put forward by many that are looking for a possible explanation for the many changes that have occurred in reality. The Large Hadron Collider, or LHC for short, which is
Real
operated
gun?
by
He
CERN,
has
is
a
the
real
single
gun?
largest and debatably the
No,
most
he has
powerful
fake
machine ever
guns. He
created by
uses those
humanity.
all the time.
The particle
Don't
accelerator
worry.
became operational in 2010
He
and
does
sped
this
up
every
protons
night.
to energy levels physicists had never observed before. The outcome of the collision was uncertain at the time. In fact, at the time there was widespread fear that the tremendous energy of 7 tera-electronvolts, or TeV, generated by the collision of two beams of protons would create a black hole that would slowly consume the Earth and eventually destroy the whole planet. Fortunately, this did not happen.
He's got
the Large Hadron Collider was a success.
several
In
guns that
2012,
don't
it made a
work.
major discovery by confirming the existence of the Higgs boson, subatomic particle, which is part of the building block of the universe, aka the God, which will give us a better. Such experiments might eventually lead us to the confirmation of the elusive dark matter and even parallel universes. It is also this tremendous amount of energy needed for these experiments that many are theorizing might be corroding the very fabric of our universe and unintentionally creating reality-altering side effects, such as the Mandela Effect. But is such thing really possible, or is it just an outlandish theory? No one knows for sure, as all these experiments are largely in the realm of theoretical physics. However, some conspiracy theories have gone as far as saying they believe that the physicists at CERN know about the side effects these experiments are causing, and might even be mocking us. As proof, they point to the video posted by CERN here on YouTube titled "We Are Happy at CERN," in which they play the hit song by the same name. The video seems innocent enough. Personnel at CERN dance to the song with the Large Hadron Collider in the background. The video even features a comical collision. However, there is one part in the video that stands out quite a bit to many conspiracy theorists, and we will briefly analyze this. First, let's talk about the person who is in the image. He is Dr. John Ellis, a theoretical physicist and advocate for quantum gravity and string theory. He has also been a strong advocate for particle accelerator projects. Okay, now let's take a look at the signs. First, we have the obvious one at the bottom, with it even being partially blocked, good clear to see.
Why does he have a Mandela sign?
Now for the top sign. That's where things get interesting. It reads Bond number 1. The first thing that comes to mind is some kind of bonding that happens during their experimentation. However, let's try to look a little deeper into this. In pop culture, who else is a famous Bond? James Bond? Okay, so Wayne. Well, Bond number 1. Who was the first person to ever play James Bond? Well, according to 007james.com, a complete history, the first person to play James Bond was Barry Nelson. Is that some kind of clue? Do we now have Nelson Mandela?
Oh my God.
Also notice the colors used for the word Bond. Someone took their time to use red and blue, while the Mandela sign is just one solid color, but the top is red and blue. Perhaps to let us know there is something more that meets the eye to this particular sign, and also perhaps referencing one of the most powerful Mandela effects, or yet another coincidence, that it also happens to be in a James Bond movie. The Mandela effect which referring to is from the James Bond movie Moonraker. Although this Mandela effect, in my opinion, is one of the most powerful, it doesn't get the proper attention it deserves,
CERN is evil.
since many people haven't seen the movie prior to this Mandela effect. However, even if that's the case, a quick look at one of the key scenes can make things clear. This is the scene where the villain Jaws, as you might have guessed it by his name and appearance, uses a special weapon, his powerful lethal metal bite. In the scene, he attempts to kill James Bond in a cable cart, but fails, having Bond escape and him crashing into the control room. This is the very first time he and the character Dolly have an interaction film, and they form an instant love connection, and she becomes his girlfriend. This instant love
is we're going to break down his entire message, all the messages that we're going to read through them all, and we're going to discuss them. If this is something that interests you, stay tuned. The importance of objectivity. There are typically multiple points of view from which any set of events can be viewed and interpreted. Openness to a range of insights from multiple points of view and a willingness to question one's own point of view are crucial to objectivity. Objectivity is achieved to the extent that one has studied a wide range of perspectives relevant to an issue, obtained insights from all of them, seen weaknesses and partiality in each, and integrated what one has learned into a more comprehensive, many-sided whole. Each should serve to correct exaggerations or distortions in the others, and to add facts not highlighted in the others. That's by Richard Paul and Linda Elder in their book on how to detect media bias and propaganda. A very excellent book. I highly recommend it. It is linked below. The reason why we're talking about objectivity is because I don't necessarily believe this whistleblower fully. I see his biases. He's not, or they're not, he, she, I don't know. They have biases. And they're employees. They're doing what they're told. They do what they're told and then follow through on that. So their information is going to be biased. It's going to be based on this perspective. You're going to see in this that he really believes in what he's doing to an extent, including the deception. But at the same time, there's kind of a regret there. And this also might be due to the law of free will, where free will must be given, so we have to be able to see this information to discover the why. There's a whole lot of information on the Mandela Effect, but there's a wide range of why. And I don't want to get into the whys that I don't like, but this is a why that actually makes sense from my perspective, at least some of it. And so I'm going to dissect this a little bit. So 4chan is a web forum where people can post messages anonymously. Whistleblowers tend to use this forum to release sensitive information. I transcribe everything, and so I place a timestamp of each message from the scientist, unless a timestamp was removed from the screenshot, in which case I use a timestamp of the next message instead. I do not place all the questions that the scientist is responding to, but in a few of them I chose to. And there were quite a few unreasonable fools asking him questions, which the scientist rightfully chose to ignore. When you download those screenshots for yourself and go through them, which I have the link below, I highly recommend that you look through a lot of the questions. There's a lot of douchebags on there who aren't taking him seriously. They're not being objective, and they're not realizing the gravity of what's going on. First message, August 21st, 2016, around 9:58 p.m. I am one of 23 scientists responsible for what you call the Mandela Effect. I'm here to answer questions regarding the original timeline and why it is happening. I will not disclose where I work or what I do at work. So, in response to a message where somebody says, why did you guys choose to change the original spelling of the Bernstein Bears? He says, you are being deceived. The original timeline was Bernstein Bears, specifically the Bernstein Bears. Aaron was the update. Aaron Stein is the layer to hide the truth. And I think what he meant there was Aaron Stain is the layer to hide the truth. But
I don't remember any Bernstein. It was always Berenstein. What is this crap?
He did say Stein there, so that's what I wrote. The next message, he states, not everyone is accepting the updates. For some reason, the veil isn't working on some people. Currently, it is spiraling out of control, and we anticipate a larger population that will experience memory anomalies within the next few years. By 2020, everything will settle. There are differences in memory because you are not supposed to remember any of it. In fact, you've been implanted with multiple layers of memories that are false. Somehow you have remembered, and this is very concerning. I encourage you to try to hold on to your memories.
If this is true, this is so evil. Why would they even do this to us?
My thoughts. Is the veil that is being spoken of connected to the hyperdimensional control matrix as discussed by Gnostics, shamans, and other mystical sects? Does this have to do with the Saturn machine? Why will everything settle by 2020? What is so special about that time frame? So you can see that we're actually being actively deceived with false memories. But why? So our remembering is concerning, and yet the scientist is encouraging us to try to hold on to our memories. Why the seeming contradiction?
The truth about
and also,
what?
Why does one go about
why change
well, what does that mean? I mean, what from at least his perspective? I know what it means from my perspective, but from his perspective,
what's the point of changing the Berenstein Bears? I don't even. First of all, we don't know if this scientist, this whistleblower, is even legit. I still hold on to the theory that they merged us with another parallel universe, and they're not actually going and changing specific things. But let's listen to what it has to say.
It's like somebody saying, "Have faith, just believe, hold on to your memories." It's not very practical. It doesn't really do a whole lot, but I do see the contradiction between hold on to your memories and remembering is concerning. This is a proof of concept. If we can overwrite the population with false memories, unfortunately the future will be mostly manufactured. There was one person, and we are not sure how, that has somehow caused this unraveling effect. We have been trying to locate him, but he is currently hiding. This person has created the breakdown in the veil, and we are concerned that the whole system will fail unless we stop it in the next few years. This reality is a close copy of what we would call the real Earth. Unfortunately, the Earth was destroyed in 2012.
Really?
My thoughts. This person that is being spoken of reminds me of Neo character from the Matrix trilogy and John Murdoch from Dark City. The One, this person that is causing problems in the breakdown of the veil. In both instances, neither really knew who they were until the plot unfolded more. So there's a chance that this person doesn't even know he's doing it. In fact, I could probably pretty much guarantee it. Now, he might have a clue that something's going on, but he doesn't exactly know why or what. More thoughts? What is the collective consciousness of humanity being spoken of? How is this person causing problems with the collective veil? Is this a bad thing? What if it's beneficial? Now, it's obviously bad to be scientists. It's bad to the
to be honest, in 2013 is when I started first noticing strange things wrong. Most specifically with my health. Weird problems started happening. The world just didn't seem right. Things just seem more blah. So I kind of think it's possible. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I can just tell you for sure that in 2013 things were different. So...
What if it's beneficial for us, the people who are behind the veil? What mechanism is this person using to block the memory implantation techniques? So if this one is actually doing something, how is he doing that? How could shadow work and the individuation process discovered by the late psychologist Carl Jung be related to this? And speaking of that, Carl Jung also discussed the collective unconscious. He had our consciousness, the collective unconscious, our personal unconsciousness, and then also our subconscious. The collective unconscious was like a puddle of beliefs, attitudes, patterns of relating that everybody has. It was like the dominant part of ourselves. And our shadow also lies in this collective unconscious. And then individuation and shadow work is where we go through the process of becoming more of a unique individual and less of a group person. You know, like instead of being led by the group and believing in groups, we become more of an individual who does our own thing, unique, creative. He goes on to say, one of the scientists on our team shares the original name, so we distorted it as much as possible to cover the updates. I cannot say who his name is because it would give away where I work. Sorry. The original name of what? That's one of the questions you should ask in this, and that will actually unfold later. He goes on to say, unfortunately, there was an extinction level event. In order to correct this current version and yet stay similar, we had to give you some updates. These include a larger liver to process the increased toxins, as well as moving some things around because the body would soon be unable to handle the toxicity of the planet. There are too many updates to the body, I don't even know where to start. So we are actually seeing updates to the body, at least according to this guy. This is something that I was definitely adamant about but I didn't really understand how it worked, because how are doctors going to handle this? I mean, how are doctors going to handle if, something changed because the timeline merged, and a doctor goes to do a surgery and something's not in the right place? How do they know where to look? They could be opening up the wrong place in the person and kill the guy. So that was actually a concern of mine for the whole changes in the body, but that is actually explained here soon. So my thoughts on this is, so our current environment is more toxic. Well, why? Could the toxicity of our world have anything to do with the chemtrailing and chemical additives to our food and water supplies? I mean, they're spraying our skies. They're adding chemicals to our food and water. Why are they doing that? Are they just making it so that we're more controllable, but they're killing us off too fast because of this thing? So they're changing our bodies to be able to keep up with all the things they're adding to us to control us? I think that's really what it's all about.
That's interesting.
It's a control system. They're poisoning the heck out of us. And in order to keep us alive while yet still killing us, they need to change our body a little bit. Another question is, could chemtrails be for terraforming our world for another species to coexist here with us? Or is it meant to coincide with physiological changes to make us more susceptible to counterfeit veils and memory implantation techniques? So this other species could be ET, it could be ED, which is extra dimensional. We don't know what it could be, or maybe even a hybrid. But they're changing our bodies, and they could be doing that to be able to cope with a new species living side by side with us. We use a quantum computer based on our own neural network. Unfortunately, some of the technology was passed down to us to be used for a very specific purpose. Imagine Russian dolls, and you have a pretty good idea of the true nature of our reality. We are manipulating, yet also being manipulated from outside. So our reality is one of these nested layers, and then we are nested within another layer, nested within another layer, etc. And so every layer beyond us has some kind of direct control, or at least input into our layer. Maybe there are some layers inside that we are also manipulating. So quantum technology is obviously not this world, but was given to us by somebody beyond humanity's veiled level of perception. Who gave it to humanity? For what purpose? Are these extraterrestrials, extra dimensionals? Are these just spirit beings? Astral beings? Are those who are manipulating from outside benevolent or malevolent? Are they the archons spoken of by the Gnostics? Archons being reptilians and greys? To make sure humans continue to experience and have a place to do it, the collective needs more data, and our experience is far more important than the planet itself. In fact, it really doesn't matter whether it is real or virtual. We're having interface problems at the moment. People are reporting recurring headaches after the most recent updates. I don't necessarily have an issue with headaches, but that's what
I do.
Sounds a lot like we're being set up for a transhumanism agenda to merge with technology, as Wes Penry discusses in his book Synthetic Intelligence and the Transmutation of Humankind, a roadmap to singularity and beyond. And I'll link that below in the ebook. See, where we live does matter, as we're in a relationship planet we reside on.
Tammy, I can't see your full messages.
Not only disturb our connection to the Earth, but also to our source. I do not consent to a move, even if it's supposedly for my own well-being. I'm going to sink with the ship, so to speak. I think
so wait,
this whole we have to leave.
You had a heart
it's okay
problem,
if it's virtual,
and then after 2013 you
it's
don't?
not okay if it's virtual.
Is that what you're saying?
We lose a major aspect of ourselves, disconnect from the Earth, specifically our feelings and emotions. This is kind of our I amness can come through this connection. I'm not saying that the Earth gives us our I amness. I'm just saying that we need this connection to maintain our I amness. So this transhumanism thing bothers me. They would just want us to believe that we really need their solution. So they're creating the problem. They create an extinction level event, or they create a false matrix. They create a lot of problems on the Earth to shake us up a little bit, create enough problems to say, hey, we have the solution for you. It's called transhumanism. Why don't you merge with an AI consciousness and become a group soul like us? Fully group soul, and sacrifice your individuality for the sake of survival. But I call BS. No way. I'm not going to do that.
I would recommend seeing another cardiologist.
Goes on to say, I'm sorry, but that is impossible.
Since the one that
Probably
you were saying
because,
is gone
I think the
now.
question had something to
Because
do
if you
with
do have a heart problem,
where do you live? I'm
you
not
need to
even
get
sure where
checked
I'm
out.
from.
And if you,
We're all clones. We work approximately 5 hours per day on the server, and then we'll get a few hours for socialization. Believe it or not, we are jealous and wish we could be there with you. So there's a server that they're working on. The server is basically where our reality is housed. Is it maybe our collective unconscious that's housed there? Is the server just an interface to our collective unconscious? But the server itself
and then
is
this new
is
guy
housing
says
this
you
reality.
don't have it. I'm
At least that's what they're saying.
thinking that this guy might be a
So like
quack.
I said, the server is probably a metaphor for what houses our reality. But it's probably also...
If 3 doctors say you have a heart problem, and then all of a sudden one says you don't, there's something's not right there.
Also connected to humanity's collective consciousness. This may be connected to the Gnostic concept of the demiurge, which is an artificial intelligence supercomputer that makes up the matrix structure. It may or may not have initially been designed as a control mechanism, but it has become a control mechanism because certain individual common side effects we are dealing with is reoccurring headaches, shortness of breath, memory loss, and a feeling of just waking up.
Yes. Right there, I have all that. Headaches. I'm short of breath. I've been having memory problems for the past 2 years. But I don't know what he means by the feeling of just waking up.
There are various issues due to the interface changes. The brain had to be rearranged. We increased the size of the base of the brain, reduced the distance of the corpus, and shortened the area of the frontal lobe. Well, I think I know why they did that, first of all, because if you're making the base of the brain bigger, you're making survival instincts bigger. And the frontal lobe is, where our higher thinking is going on, so they're reducing our ability to think more critically. They're really just trying to reduce our ability to think. So they want to put us more into our instincts, fight, flight, freeze, and less in our critical thinking. Apparently somebody was taking a shot at him right before this, so he says, I'm not here to impress you. In fact, I think I'm feeling sad. He thinks. He doesn't really know. I want to be with you on Earth to experience things as well. It is very sad sometimes. Technically, I am on Earth, just not with everyone else. If you've seen the TV show on Netflix, Stranger Things, you have different realities, like the Upside Down in Stranger Things. I'm not saying he's in the Upside Down or that's what it looks like, but he's in a different reality on the same planet. It sounds like a noble cause, yes, but unfortunately, if we do not fix the anomalies, there's a possibility of a server crash. That would eliminate this existence for all of us, including myself and the next layer outside of ourselves. I'm not buying that. I think that they're afraid of losing control of the server. I don't think the server can actually crash. And maybe the layers that are going to die off or lose are these control layers. We don't really know what that is. But at least for him and his employers, the scientists and their employers, a server crash is a bad thing. It's yet to be seen if it's really a bad thing for us, though. Many foretold of being saved in 2012. We were saved, and now we are here. My employers have a desire to keep us alive, and hopefully without any previous memories. Unfortunately, there are many errors to correct. You will see very strange things in about a month from now.
That was in August 2016.
So we were saved. Yeah, be careful what you hope for. Getting saved. Your savior always becoming a villain, unless, of course, we become our own savior. We find our inspiration, our creativity, our sovereignty from within.
I had issues that year.
Of course, as employers have a desire to keep us alive. We are their property. We are assets. I think of the movie of Jupiter Ascending, where people were owning planets. And one of the planets was Earth that was owned, and there was a title to the Earth. And then they would loosh farm so that they could prolong their longevity. And loosh farming is where they farm both sexual energy and they also farm fear energy. So they really like it when we're afraid, when we're in war, when our adrenaline is pumping, because they're able to farm that. So yeah, they're farmers and we're the farm. We're the farm animals. They definitely have a desire to keep us alive. Also, we're going to see some strange things in about a month from now. How interesting. That would put things around September 21st or so, going into early October. We'll see. I'm not saying that this guy's correct, but if things start really shaking up and some big-time Mandela effects really start hitting more at that time, or people start waking up more to the Mandela effect, that should be interesting. Now, at the same time that that's happening, it's probably incumbent to cause problems in the world. We call that wagging the dog. For example, if a president is in trouble, politically, he might start a war somewhere. Well, if these people are in trouble because people are getting their memories back, then they might start some calamities around the world to get people focused on the calamities rather than on what's going on with their memories. So, in reference to this color that this guy posted, he says, but it used to be red. And I don't
They're talking about
chartreuse. That looks
chartreuse.
more like a green-yellow to me, but according to this guy, he says it used to be red to him. And the scientist says, if you remember as a color you would call red, or a red-like color, you are from revisions 1 to 4. Originally, the color was different, yes. So for me, I never remember that as color red. That's not in my memory or my timeline. Maybe the timelines have merged and different people from different timelines are there. Apparently, you can be from different revisions. Quite interesting. I hadn't considered that before. Your intuition is the closest thing to the truth you can accomplish. Trust your instinct. Many of the Mandela effects posted online are layers to hide the real things. It's fairly involved. Intuition is definitely the start of working on the layer of truth. We can trust that, yes. But it is a beginning point, not the ending point. This is why objectivity is so important. There's a formula for truth, and it's knowledge plus understanding minus contradictions equals wisdom or truth. Now, if we have something that's not like that, it's a lie, then you have a lack of knowledge or hidden knowledge minus understanding, which means there's logical fallacies, plus contradictions equals folly or a lie. So intuition is just the starting point. It says, there's something wrong with what's going on. I'm spotting a contradiction. So I see a contradiction in this formula. That means there's a lie there. Now that is a starting point. Now I actually have to go into seeking the truth. And I have to uncover the knowledge. I have to discover the why, the logic. And then I have to remove contradictions between the what and the why. Between knowledge and understanding. And then I can finally find the truth. And that's what we're doing in this video and other series of videos. Trying to discover the truth. Trusting our intuition. As far as him and where he's stationed, the base he's at or the reality he's in, he says, unfortunately, we cannot leave. We serve approximately 5 years' time, and we are returned to the collective. We come from the same source that humans do, but we are here instead of there, which is why I'm sad. I really don't want to do this anymore. So he's a clone. His thoughts or his mind, his consciousness was taken out of the collective the human collective and placed in this clone. And he wants to return to the human collective, either, I don't know if as a body or, yeah, I think so, as a body. He wants to get back in experiencing things here with us. I could not find the question that he was talking about in this, but we're just going to read it anyways. This is a deception. There's one finite reality and one overworked and overstressed server. And we are the ones who fix the code that is currently unraveling and could potentially cause a system crash. All due to one person. So, again, we have this person that's messing things up. Maybe it's one person, maybe it's a group of people, maybe it's a type of thing. But there's a server, and this is the Gnostic Demiurge technology, and he is somebody who's trying to fix the code, the fractal-based code. You remain yourself, but are also part of the collective. Imagine a drop of water in the sea. That is the only way I can describe it using the English language. So Jung definitely talked about this. He called it the collective consciousness, and the collective unconscious specifically. But it is a consciousness type that is collective. And we are unconscious to it. So one guy says, the volume of our craniums have remained almost entirely consistent throughout recorded history. He's basically calling the scientist out and saying, our cranium has been the same, you're full of crap. The scientist states, that's an update in your false memory anon. I think he's talking about because the guy's name was anonymous. Everybody's anonymous on this. So that's an update in your false memory anon. As their software betters, the more changes and updates are applied, your history will change here and there. That means also our memories will be updated here and there. But certain memories aren't updated.
I don't
because certain
updated
people
memories.
or one person specifically is causing an issue with this. So a lot of the things that you know to be true, like the Volkswagen spelled with an EN, or Volkswagen spelled with an ON, those kinds of things, are implanted memories. We don't really know what the real one was. Is the implanted memory the wagon, the ON, or is it the implanted memory the EN? We know that the history now shows EN, but I remember ON. So this is where things get really confusing. We see the discrepancy. That's the biggest thing. We see a discrepancy. We see a contradiction. When we spot a contradiction, we know that that is a formula for folly, for a lie. So then we have to start trusting our intuition and researching it further. My thoughts. This is interesting, as I was wondering how surgeons would be able to operate without noticing anything was different in human anatomy. The false memories were implanted to ensure humans kept going on as if nothing happened. This explains a long-held question of mine. So doctors, surgeons, etc., airplane pilots, truckers who are driving a certain path on the road, their memories are being updated, so they're not getting lost on the highway. They're not getting lost in surgery. They're not getting lost when they're flying from one airport to the next airport. Why? Because humanity's memories are getting collectively manipulated. What collective consciousness are they manipulating when they falsify our memories? So Freud's view of consciousness, you have the conscious mind, that's 10%, subconscious mind, that's 50 to 60%, and the unconscious mind, 30 to 40%. It's probably at this unconscious level, but it could also be the subconscious level, where our memories are being manipulated. So if you think of a giant pool that is at the base of this pyramid, that's where the most amount of the consciousness resides. And then our individuality is kind of at the top of the pyramid, where we're being visual. Now, I'm not talking about a hierarchy here. This is different. So try not to get confused between an unnatural pyramid hierarchy and what I'm talking about. We're just talking about a triangle and how the top of the triangle is where you're most conscious, and the base of the triangle is where you're the most unconscious. So he says, yes, you are correct. Most people don't notice, but the brain itself is drastically changed, as well as where the brain stem connects to it. So our brain is being manipulated, not just our mind, our physical anatomy. So here we get a little bit about CERN. CERN is using the collider to introduce anomalies into the server by networking it with multiple D-Wave 4096 machines. The only thing they have accomplished so far is minor anomalies. So what we're actually going through is just minor anomalies. Oh my. We have rewritten the entire skeletal structure. The rib cage, the skull, the brain. Wow. That's what I have to say. Somebody left a comment. Also, where did you learn through life where your heart is? For me, it is the left side. Always has been. Now it's more dead center. The scientist replies, originally it was on the left side. Yes, very perceptive. This is one anomaly we are trying to fix currently. We also increase the size of the heart as well. So the anomaly, are they trying to remove our memory that it was on the left side, or are they trying to move it back to the left side? Don't know. Increase the size of the heart as well. I don't know why, but maybe one of you do. When you are with the collective, you are not lonely. It's far better than being here. I cannot self-terminate. I have a very controlled existence. This is his sad boohoo story. Poor scientist manipulating humanity. But he's a clone. He has a controlled existence. He doesn't know how to be an individual. This is what all of humanity has to look forward to very soon in the future if they go the transhumanist direction. If they start agreeing to all these changes. If they do this for survival, this is what they're going to get. They're going to have a very controlled existence where you can't even commit suicide. Here's a long one. Like I said earlier, it was an experiment to try and graft another timeline into ours, one that was similar but had subtle differences. But they effed it up. The proof is that people are noticing the differences. That was not supposed to happen. For most people, the spelling of a children's book means F-all. But there are people out there right now wondering what in the hell happened to their children. Or why they suddenly have 2 kids when they know for a fact that they never had any before. It's stuff like that. I'm sure more are going to come out, but I'm not sure exactly what. So there's people out there that are missing kids, or they have kids that they never had. What the heck's up with that? That's a really big anomaly, and I wonder if we're going to start seeing that even more. We are currently at 12,783 changes to the original timeline. Most are so subtle that only a small number of people would notice. Wow, that's a lot of changes. Everyone will be awake soon. I must leave soon. I urge you not to forget your original timeline. So wherever he's at, there's people waking up. He's kind of in the middle of the night, sneaking out to get to a computer terminal that interfaces with our reality and, interestingly enough, our internet. So that's kind of an interesting implication that if he's in a different reality than us, he can still actually connect to our reality via the internet. So they have some kind of an interface there. What we have here in this picture is the original Stan and Jan Bernstein, however you say it, without the Aaron and without the Ain. It says, I'm posting anomalies that others have found and some that have not yet been found. It is important not to forget your original timeline. Again, he's talking about not forgetting. How do we go about that? What exactly do we do to not forget original timeline? Jeremy can help you. You must seek him and find him. Read between the lines.
Who's Jeremy?
Okay. Jeremy. Jeremy who? What is Jeremy? And he's highlighting Bernstein Bears, Stan and Jan Bernstein. Jeremy can help. Find Jeremy. Read between the lines. There's Biffy Peanut Butter before it got changed to Jif. This one's wild. Maybe this will help you remember. Please do not forget, the original form is on the right. Okay, that's quite interesting. When you look at this picture, you have the one to the right. The rib cage is bigger at the top and narrower at the bottom. That's what I remember. There's these kind of shoulder bones that were there that are no longer there. And yeah, some kind of weird ribs at the top also of the rib cage. I don't see any differences in the arm per se. I don't see any differences anywhere else, but it just seems like the rib cage and those floating ribs are a little bit different as well. And the one on the right seems to be the original. Interesting, interesting. The core of the human is consciousness. Look at Donnie Darko. The solar plexar, teleportation of the human body making piloting actions. The alteration of our bodies is beginning to toxify our memories. Release the current information like a DNS flush and regurgitate any information you recollect having. The core of the human is consciousness. Yes, we know that. Because consciousness creates matter. Matter does not create consciousness. Look at Donnie Darko. That's a movie. It might be interesting to revisit that movie now in light of this. The solar plexar, I don't know if that's a typo, but because the solar plexus. But there's also what's called the solar plexus chakra, which has to do with our power center. It's represented by the color yellow. What this has to do with teleportation of the human body, making piloting actions, I have no idea. The alteration of our bodies is beginning to toxify our memories. So our memories, I don't really understand that part either. Now he's talking about do a DNS flush. So what is a DNS flush? That's a computer term. DNS is a domain name system. DNS servers convert a domain name, such as example.com, into an IP address. in this case 192.0.32.10. The mapping of the names to numbers can change from time to time. So sometimes the name and the number will no longer match because a new server, a new IP address, now you have to change example.com to the new IP address. So your computer holds a record of DNS entries to save looking them up every time. This is your DNS cache. You can delete those records or flush the cache anytime you like. So in order to speed up the resolving of the matching between example.com and the IP address,
you
have a cache on your computer that just makes it super fast. It just looks it up there rather than going out online and looking it up. If a website has recently moved servers, you might see the old website for a while. Flushing your DNS cache might help. We explained already how that might help. So how might that help though? How is that going to help us to flush our own DNS cache? We've been moved servers, is that what's being said? So we're no longer on the same server, we need to flush that. Will that make us lose our old memories, or will that make our old memories get back to our old server? Is this going to help us connect to the old Earth rather than the new Earth? And when I say the old Earth, I mean our original Earth that we want to get back to. I'm not so sure that I want this new virtual Earth. So if I do this DNS flush, I can reach the old Earth again. Or maybe something else. Maybe this will help us become in line with this new virtual Earth, and then we'll just, be safe and survive and have implanted memories and go on about our business as if we're automatons. What do you think? So this is his last message. He says, your consciousness was transferred to the server to avoid an extinction level event. You may have noticed updates to your body as well as environment. I don't have much longer. I must leave now. Jeremy Bernstein, good luck.
Jeremy Bernstein.
Okay, so there's a mention to the server again, the Gnostic server, an extinction level event, updates to our body as well as environments such as the continents moving. He doesn't have much longer. He's got to go because everybody's waking up in his office or his reality. And then all of a sudden he says, Jeremy Bernstein, good luck. So I'll get to what that means. So in the beginning of the disclosure, the scientist states that he cannot reveal the name of the other scientists. And then he gives hints about the Bernstein Bears being changed to cover up the scientist's name. And finally he breaks his own rule and gives his name anyway, Jeremy Bernstein. This is a big contradiction and a red flag to me because it's like he's giving away secret information, and the reader is the chosen few to receive it. This is sometimes a mis- or disinformation tactic. So they start off by saying, no, I can't say that, but then by the end they say it anyways. So that's very subtle, but it very well could be misinformation, disinformation from something like a three-letter organization, such as the NSA, CIA, or any number of other organizations. Who knows now? But that is a big red flag for me. However, we know that a lot of the best lies are based in truth. So they could be giving away a lot of truth here, while at the same time creating subtle distortions, like this event that destroyed the world, which maybe nothing got destroyed, we just got uploaded, and we need to flush our DNS and get back to our original reality. We don't really know what it could be, but that's why we need to discern. We need to exercise our discernment, and this actually means critical thinking. We need to exercise our critical thinking. If this is either misinformation or disinformation, then it's done with a Gnostic slant that takes into account mystical understanding of the demiurge technology and the fractal holographic reality that we reside within. The principle of correspondence, which is Hermetic principle, states, as above, so below, as within, so without. It isn't just some silly esoteric or pagan mythology, but it is an insight that explains the scalability of holographic fractal patterns and how they are able to replicate in multiple dimensions, directions, densities, and realities. So it's a mathematical thing. As above, so below is a mathematical principle. That's why it's one of the Hermetic principles, one of the natural laws of our universe. It's not some witchcraft thing. It's not satanic. It is just a fractal truth. While the scientist is supposedly residing in a different layer of reality, he is still connected to our realm via a fractal-based relationship. Their backstory takes this into account. Regardless, The scientist obviously believes what he is doing is for the best for humanity's survival, either because he was programmed to believe it and is spreading misinformation, disinformation. He has an emotional attachment to believe it is so, because, his employer, he could get fired, or he could get killed, or is mostly an automaton with very little free will, but still enough to say something to us. So it could actually have some validity in it. Could individuation be our solution? Individuation is a process of psychological differentiation, having for its goal the development of the individual personality. In general, it is the process by which individual beings are formed and differentiated. In particular, it is the development of the psychological individual as a being distinct from the general collective psychology. In Jungian theory, the self is one of several archetypes. It signifies the coherent whole unifying both the consciousness and unconscious mind of a person. The self, according to Jung, is realized as a product of individuation, which is defined as the process of integrating one's personality. And if I could only pronounce her name, I would. Now is from mindstructures.com on Carl Jung and the individuation process. How does this pertain? Well, if we remember Freud's triangle, we had the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious. If becoming a self, a unique self, which is individuation, you become individuated, then now you're a self. That means you have taken your consciousness, just mind, and you have connected them together. You have bridged the gap between the unconscious and the conscious. And maybe I might say the subconscious, unconscious, and the conscious. This is a type of unity and alignment. The alignment of self. The self is all of these parts contained together. And that means the ego too, because the ego is kind of part of your unconscious part. So if this is all connected together and you are one, you're in unity within yourself, now you're no longer going to be bound to these changes that are going on in the collective consciousness. In this case, the collective unconscious. So if humanity's collective consciousness is being manipulated from outside through technology of some sort that is utilizing psychological principles as well as other things, they're giving us false memories. But we are doing the individuation process by going into shadow work, by analyzing our thoughts, reflecting on our thoughts, questioning our own questions. If we can question our own questions, we can start to analyze our thinking, reflecting on that. We also need to analyze our feelings, our emotional triggers, and find the patterns in those triggers, because those triggers have a reason for being triggered. A lot of times it's rooted in trauma. So if we can go through this process, and it sounds pretty time-consuming, and it's really a lifestyle, we can really differentiate ourselves from this collective unconsciousness, become a whole self, and no longer be susceptible to their manipulations. So I think really this one person that he was talking about, this Neo or John Murdoch figure that is causing problems for their matrix, is really just somebody that is going through and working through their issues. There are lots of great teachers who teach shadow work, and you can align with those people. I myself also teach shadow work in classes and also individual sessions. It is something that I am definitely passionate about. I won't go so far as saying that I'm individuated.
I can't hold my phone up any longer, but I will stream on my computer and play some music for you guys. So I'll be back up soon.